The two biggest things that destroy friendships and relationships nowadays are jealousy and hate. That's the biggest downfall of any relationships and any friendships. When jealousy and hatred, they seep into a friendship, mainly a friendship, right? It happens because the other person is usually elevating their life to new heights while the other person is staying stagnant. Or someone in that friendship has more of materialistic value, like a house or a car, more than the other friend. The friend don't have a house nor a car. The friend got to take an Uber or a Lyft. The other friend that's most likely jealous, filled with hatred, lives in an apartment. And there's nothing wrong with that situation. It's whatever you can afford. But the problem is, it's the envious nature of people that they choose to be covetousness of other people's belongings. They choose to be envious of people's lifestyles, envious of what they have, what they achieved, how successful they are. And it's rather pathetic. It's very, very sickening how jealousy and hate can really make a person's heart cold and just ruin a relationship. And that's the problem. There's too much jealousy and there's too much hatred. I used to have a house when I was about 12 years old, 13. I moved into my first real house. And I was rather excited to live in this new house. My mother was able to afford it at that time. She was a single parent, and she was holding everything down in the house between me and my older brother and my grandmother at that time. She was with a man that did not really work. I don't even know what he did, to be honest. From what I remember, he did a whole lot of nothing and a whole lot of drugs and a whole lot of sipping and rather verbally abusive for the most part. But that's neither here or there. I want to talk about the house that I used to live in and how the friends that I had around me, the company that I was keeping around that time period, I would say from 2008 up until 2015. And it's funny, man. It's really, really funny how people work. How friendships are very conditional. And that was the case for me when I was younger. It's like if I didn't have this house, living in a nice house that my mother could afford for the first time, after working her ass off to be able to afford it in the first place, it was really a blessing. But it's like the people around us, the company that we were really keeping, because we didn't really know better at that time. We were just excited to have a house finally. We didn't know what was going to come with it in terms of socialization and, jealousy, envious people. People want to be in your business. People want to be all up around you 24/7, wanting to come over unannounced. I bet y'all get that too sometimes, where you have certain friends that come over unannounced. I hate that so much. Unannounced, people coming over. That really pisses me off, because it's like, first of all, you never told me you were coming over. Wasn't even prepared for you to come over. Second of all, your ass is annoying. Okay, you're irritating to be around. I just tolerate you from time to time. But it's like this is the stuff that I was dealing with when it came to certain friendships. Now, that wasn't to say that I wasn't like pushing the friends that I had away, because at that time I was very young, very naive. I didn't really know how to read people like that. I wasn't really good at reading the room that well at that age, and really wasn't I wasn't really that alert in terms of who's who, and to see who's fake and to see who's real. I didn't really have that ability like that when I was young. But I felt, okay, cool. I'm glad to have friends finally. I'm glad to finally make some type of friends and have a social life. This is kind of cool. I got a nice house, got a basement, got my own room finally, got my own bed finally. I mean, this is pretty cool. I wasn't complaining. Like, it was really a blessing, but just having certain friends around you, it's like they're only your friend when you have something of materialistic value. It's like people identify you in a much more important light when you have like a house and you have a vehicle. And that's pretty much how I felt to most people. I noticed I had way more friends, way more socialization. And I wouldn't say a lot of friends, I would say acquaintances, associates, but like more people in the neighborhood, they knew of me. I was popular. For the first time in my life, I was actually popular. I wasn't popular in school, I was just popular in the neighborhood. Amongst the friends that I had, they had other friends in the neighborhood, because I was relatively new to this neighborhood. I had previously lived in a trailer park, right? In a whole complex that really did not allow children of my age. And it was mainly just the elderly living in that area, right? But I would notice that I was very popular. We would have a lot of parties, from Halloween parties, hell, an Easter party, St. Patrick's party. Like, my mom was very keen on celebrating holidays, and for me, it was whatever. I didn't really care for holidays like that. I only cared about the food. That's all I cared about, to be honest with you. Christmas, New Year's, Halloween, Fourth of July, Memorial Day, all those holidays we would celebrate and having parties, and everybody was invited. My mother would be inviting her coworkers, her friends, my brother and his friends, me and my friends, and it was a lot of people over. A lot of people over. But I'm not gonna lie to you, like, it felt kind of good at that time being popular and having people wanting to be around you. But then, like, you will soon find out it's really not genuine. It's not sincere, because Like everybody just wanted to be around me all the time. I could not get a break from nobody. And it's not like all the friends or the company that I was keeping was the right type of friends in the first place. It's like, and like normally you don't really think about the more, the morals and the ethics of your friends at a certain age. You don't really care if they're good for you or not. You just want to have fun. You just want to do dumb shit as a 13-year-old. You know what I mean? And possibly drink, talk to some girls and whatnot, fool around. And it's like, you know, you just think about having fun and turning up because you're a kid, basically. You're not thinking like an adult. See, when you think like an adult, you're more concerned on who you want to surround yourself with. You're more concerned on what type of energy you want to keep around you. At 13 years old, you don't think about that shit. You really don't. You just allow anybody and anything around you. And that was basically me. I was tolerant of a lot of people. I was tolerant of a lot of energy around me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I really had no peace, and I really didn't have good energy around me like that when I look back, right? A lot of fakeness around me. Because I would find that out once I moved out of that house. It wasn't just my mother's income, it was also my grandmother's income too. She was getting paid by the state, by the county, I suppose, of some state income, or like, not state income. I want to say social security benefit. I think. I'm not entirely sure about that. But that income of hers was covering the rent month to month as well. And my mom had to pay mostly all the bills, all the utility bills. I wasn't really old enough to work. I didn't get my first job until I was about 16. Um, and then I messed it up within 3 weeks of getting hired, right? Because I let the money get to my head, and I just wasn't ready, to be honest. I just wasn't ready to work at 16. I had to mature a little bit, graduate high school and whatnot, you know. But less and less people really did not want nothing to do with me. Because once my grandmother had passed away, 2015, we lost that house, you know, and then we had to downsize into an apartment. Me and my mom, just me and her. My brother and his girl, they went to a different apartment. They would live on their own and whatnot. But I would feel this decline in my social life around that time, especially after high school. There would be a major decline in my socialization. The only socialization that I got to have was within the 9 to 5, right? And when it comes down to jealousy and hate, when I look back, because I do a lot of reflecting, and I look back on these things. Who the hell was calling me, man? I would just feel a lot of jealousy and hate, subconsciously. Even though as a kid I wasn't really much aware. But, you get that subconscious gut feeling that something ain't right with certain people. It's like consciously you're not aware of it, but subconsciously it's in the back of your mind that something's up with certain people. And I will get a lot of signs from friends that were not right for me. They're only my friend because they see me in this house. And at the same time, they're jealous and hateful that I have a house. Compared to them, I was living better than them. I saw how they were living. I didn't judge them. I don't judge nobody, for the record. I respect everybody's living situation because I know what it's like to come from nothing, come from the bottom, because my first living arrangement was a trailer park where I had no bed to sleep on, right? I had to sleep on the rug most nights. Once I graduated from a crib, I had to sleep on the rug. I had no bed to sleep on, because at that time my mom was just establishing herself financially and working around the year 2000. And, she was just trying to provide the best way she could, you know. But as much as many people wanted to be around me, it was just the jealousy and the underlying hate that I would receive, right? It would just come in different ways, different shapes and forms, you know. It's like you could tell, right? You can tell they only rock with you because you have this, you know. It's like a status symbol. The house was like a status symbol for me. Immediately once we lost that house, everybody disappeared. Everybody's gone. It was for the best. It was for the best. Because it taught me a lot about how friendships are conditional, you know? And when you have something like a house, some friends, they will show their jealousy. They will show their covetousness, their envious ways. Because they see how they live in, they look at their house, they don't like it. So they want to be all up around you all day. Be up in your house. Man, listen, I had things stolen from my house, like my room. I've had people try to break in the house at one point. A couple of thugs try to get in. And my uncle at the time had chased them away, pretty much. Because my brother had seen them trying to come through, and they had a weapon, I suppose. I'm not sure, but he quickly ran in, him and his friend, and I was in the living room just watching some TV. Heard a lot of banging, chairs moving, all this stuff, and they just once my uncle came from the driveway, I think with a weapon, I suppose, not the Glock, but like maybe a bat or something. I'm not entirely sure, but they just scurried off in bikes. It was just some weird, crazy stuff would happen. It's like it was a blessing living in that house, but I remember it feeling like a curse at times. I remember getting my house egged on a few occasions, during my days in high school. I had to deal with some hate. It wasn't because they didn't really like me per se, but getting your house egged, okay, a nice house being egged, that's some hate coming your way. That somebody does not like you in that house. That's a fact. And once again, it goes back to, friends and people just want to be up around you all the time. People will come over, things will be stolen. Garbage disposal will be broken. Someone messing with the garbage disposal. And it's coming out of my mother's, her pocket. That's something she got to cover and pay for. And technically, it really wasn't our house. We was really just renting it, right? We were renting the house. So we were tenants and had a landlord. So a lot of negative instances would happen with me living in that house. A lot of toxicity, a lot of negative energy, negative influences came around, a lot of devils came around for the most part. Um, I definitely experienced some traumatic things living in that house. And, you know, I just really want to talk about this, man, the topic of jealousy and hate. And it's running rampant today. You know, even back then I experienced it. And I had to learn that very hard lesson when I was young. You know, um, jealousy and hate is a serious thing. It's the downfall of all friendships and relationships. And if you see any signs that your friend is jealous of you and showing hate, I prefer that you cut that person off ASAP because they're not a good fit for your life and you know it.